Hello and welcome to the Incursion podcast. My name is Vaughn Hyde, and as always, I'm joined by Josh. How you doing today, Josh?
Doing great. The two... I almost said trio. Not trio. The two not trio at it again.
I'm so glad that you said that. I've never had a moniker before that was so special and so weird. The two not trio just sounds so good for the both of us.
Yeah, I like it. I'll keep it.
I'm very happy that it exists. Yeah. So, if you guys don't know, this is a podcast entirely about indie games. On occasion, we might cover a big story or something, or I might rant about how annoying Red Dead Redemption 2 is. But otherwise, yeah, this is all about indie games. So if you guys like indie games, make sure to follow us. Eventually, I will get off my ass and put it on podcast feeds, but
one day.
No idea when that'll happen. Yeah, right.
We'll
one day this podcast will actually be a podcast.
Episode
Eventually.
100 incoming.
I mean, I'm not saying that's how long it's going to take, but yeah,
who's to say?
Probably. So what have you been playing this week?
All right, so what haven't I been playing? I've been trying to spend a little bit of time on just about every game that I've talked about earlier in these podcasts. So I've been playing a little more Crosscode. I'm really trying to get through that so I could do a review for it, but it's taken me so long just because this game is huge. That I don't know what I'm going to do on that. But as always, very fun. Can't really say enough good things about it other than, Jesus, is it mechanically demanding. I am so surprised halfway through how much they expect from their fan base. But they did actually make a baby mode part in it by allowing the puzzle mechanics to go slower and also to go from either 100 and 20% intervals down all the way to 0 of how much damage you take. But as much as I'm like, I want to do that because I'm getting so frustrated, I'm forcing myself to not use it to actually beat the game how it's meant to be. But man, it is quite a game. It's tough. I don't know if you've had a chance to check it out or if you've seen it, but for the most part, I would still very highly recommend it. But it is a toughie.
Yeah, I haven't checked it out yet, but anytime that like I've said several times before, I'm fucking terrible at video games. No matter how much I love them, I'm terrible at them. So I just I always go the easy. I'm just I don't even fucking care. I'm just easy. And then if I beat a game and really, really like it and decide that I'm not complete trash at it, I might try hard, but I'm like, nah. I just fucking pop it down to easy. I'm in it for the story. I'm not in it for the glory.
Yeah, no, I mean, I probably would have been more inclined to do that, but this patch, it came out when I was so there's 10 chapters, I think, in the game, and I was already into chapter 6 or so when it came out, and they were like, we can make it easier for you, and I was like, I've already gotten this far, I might as well keep trucking along. But it's been good so far. Other than that, I've been playing Save Me, Mr. Taco. I'm pretty torn between that game. I like it, but I also feel like it I don't really know how to explain it, but it just feels like something that it's really good with the way they do it, but it can be very, very frustrating in certain scenarios. So I'll give you an example. They have a lot of levels where it's stage based, kind of like any of those games where you just have level 1, level 2, and you walk through a map to get to that level.
Yeah, it's like your standard platformers.
Kind of.
Or 2D platformers, like old pixel platformers.
Yeah, so it really ties into that. And one of the things that they do is a lot of those levels are normal levels where you go into it, you do some platforming, you get to the end of the level, it's done. You get to the next one, which is nice. But then they have, as a variation, town areas or dungeons, kind of, where you'll walk into it as if it's a level, but then it'll be like a town where you get to talk with everyone and go through and meet all the people and do whatever you need to do for that town level. Now, in certain cases, as you get further on, you basically have this scenario where right now I'm stuck on a level where I go to a village, I talk to a lady, she invites me into her house, and then all of a sudden basically I get thrown into a dungeon halfway through. So I then play
She
the
says a dungeon in her fucking house.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what happened. They haven't explained it yet because I haven't finished this level. But so basically, I get there to the dungeon part, and then I have to play it, obviously. So I'm going through the dungeon, and I died. And what happens is they don't have a good system of bringing you back. So instead, you walk through the level, talk to the old lady again, go get kicked into the dungeon, and then try it again. So there's a lot of wasted time and just areas where I feel like it's so frustrating, especially because they also have boss battles where they'll give you a skip, where if you got to the boss, they'll allow you to use this weird bubble looking thing that'll take you right back to it on certain levels, but then it doesn't do it on these. So I'm so confused as to why they would put a skip mechanic in one area but not the rest of it. So a little bit of a pitfall on where I feel like that could have been a huge improvement as far as the gameplay, just because this isn't at first it was very easy and I thought it was going to be so basic and I was like, oh, this couldn't possibly be anything, but now I'm getting into these later levels and I'm constantly having to restart, and because of that it's like, god, do I really have to walk back through this whole cutscene and go through everything? And it's time consuming.
Yeah, I feel like checkpoints are really important, especially in platformers, because in platformers, it's like you can make a tiny mistake, the most minuscule mistake, and if you have to walk all the way back through the level, it's just a huge pain in the ass.
Yeah, and it brings me to the thought of one of the recent games that came out from an indie perspective, which was The Messenger. And The Messenger, I don't know if you've ever played it or checked it out. They did it really well with their checkpoints and their scenarios of getting to certain areas. There were a lot of hard platforming areas, but they would always have a good amount of checks in between. So it was more on you perfecting the way to either traverse through the level or beat the boss, rather than spending so much time trying to get back to that area and wasting so much time where you don't really get to grind out that repetition and learn the system.
Yeah, or if you played Shovel Knight, Shovel Knight did it really in an interesting way where if you wanted to, you could use the checkpoints, but you could also just break them and you could get gems.
Yeah,
which is really weird. Shit. Yeah, no, I didn't either because I'm shit at games. But there are some people who love that shit and they just broke it and they're like, I'm gonna take the gem because I'm gonna beat this in one try. And I'm like, what the you're a crazy person. But yeah, I feel like that is a good, seemingly what the Messenger has, which I haven't tried yet, and what Shovel Knight did. I really like the way that seeming both of them do it, because it's like, oh yeah, it's a decent amount, but you could have the challenge if you wanted it to, kind of a thing. Or at least in Shovel Knight you could.
But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been playing from an indie perspective, other than trying out the Fallout 76 beta, but I mean, that's not really indie-wise. A lot of people know about that one.
I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be just indie games that you play during the week. If I'm being honest, I really wish I played more indie games, but between I did an Extra Life stream, which I ended up getting really fucked up from. My sleep schedule is all fucked up and I didn't drink enough water, so I got sick and all sorts of stuff. It was crazy. It's definitely not good for my health, but between that and just work, I haven't been actually able to play jump in to play anything substantial. So I've just been trying to get basically I just get on and do one mission in Red Dead and then I get off. It's really quick. I want to play more of Wonder Song because I just bought it.
Oh,
and I want to play. Yeah, right? And I want to play more of Dead Cells, but at this very moment, I'm like, I really just want to get super deep into these games, but I feel like I won't be able to do so until I beat Red Dead and sate my curiosity with it. So, yeah, I definitely understand you wanting to only talk about the indie games you play, but feel free to talk about the AAA games. How did you like Fallout 76?
Well, I mean, I'm kind of biased. I've been a diehard Fallout fan for what feels like forever now, and I've always loved the series, and I know there are a lot of people who complain about many of the things they do in it, but just the fact that I get to play out Fallout with friends is insane to me. Like, I loved it. It was hilarious. It was just such a happy moment of being able to run through and just mow through, you know, a giant factory with a buddy. It was a lot of fun because we kept doing it since this is the beta. We weren't really, you know, we were like, all right, let's just have fun with it. Let's just go through and explore. Let's not really worry about quests or anything. So we would just go to these really high level areas that weren't for us, and it was just so frightening being just attacked by all like a wave of super mutants, a wave of ghouls, and it was a lot of fun running through and having that time. That being said, I don't know what it will be like just as a, you know, a full-fledged game, how it's really going to pan out, because, you know, with Fallout, it's really about the story, which is going to be interesting because I feel like I won't be able to focus as much with a big group. But that being said, it was still a lot of fun just running through the city, or the wasteland of Virginia, and some of the monsters in there are quite unique. It's not just, you know, death claws. We saw this one, god, I can't remember the name of it, but it just looked like this giant like gray golem thing that attacked us that we had no idea was coming. There's Mothman in the game. There's a huge selection of like new enemies that are there to really explore through. So I'm excited for it, but I've only played it a couple of days, just because of the way they're doing the beta in these small chunks, which, god, I hate, because I just want to play the game. But I mean, from a marketing perspective and from a, you know, fixing or bug finding perspective, I understand, but just give me the game already.
Yeah, especially, I actually didn't think of it that way. If in like a bug perspective, so you basically, you have a couple people play, they report a bug, and then you fix it by the time the next thing comes out, then you get more people to play test it. I didn't even think about that, but there are a lot of people who are annoyed about the way that they did the Fallout 76 beta, especially people who pre-ordered to get the beta, because beforehand, like I think maybe within the month Bethesda might have said something about it, but beforehand they hadn't said anything about it being like how weird it is. How it's like, oh yeah, you get 2 days now, which is like 4 hours of those 2 days or whatever.
Yeah, so they were very vague about it at the start, and I didn't even realize until later. They also, from like a marketing perspective, I feel they really missed a couple of key aspects in here. I didn't even realize until just the other day, halfway through, because the beta is pretty much over. I think the only other day is Thursday, November 8th, that's coming up. But by the time this comes out, it'll already be over. But they had the ability, like I had the ability to give 3 friend codes for the beta. So 3 of my friends could just play Fallout 76 with me. And I had no idea until like yesterday.
Oh, that's uncomfortable.
And I feel, yeah, and I had people who wanted, like, I was on Discord with, who were just there and who were like, I don't know if I'm going to get it. And I feel like I could have just been like, here's the beta. Play with me, find out if you want it. And I feel like that's why Bethesda did it. And I feel like it totally, maybe it's just me and I just did not notice, but I feel like that was not marketed heavy. And I feel like, I mean, what a good way to sucker other people into buying your game, by making people's friends be like, oh, you want to play with this? You want to play with me now? Better get the game.
Yeah, it's similar to the way that they release like beta codes for the Call of Duty games. They always give you like 2 extra. I always thought that was so weird, but it's because it's a multiplayer game. You want to see how, you want to see what it's like to play with your friends, especially in Fallout. You want to see what it's like to play with your friends in that world. So, yeah, I'm really excited for Fallout 76. As of recording this, it literally comes out in 1 week, which is pretty exciting. I don't think I'm going to get it immediately. I'm going to wait for a couple reviews. Overall, I think it's going to be a good game, but I also need to beat Red Dead, so no idea.
Well, if anything, you could wait for my review. Future shameless plug, because I will be reviewing that game, and I cannot wait. I feel like this is going to be a game that I sink a lot of time into.
It looks really good. It seems like a lot of people have like issues with it, but it is, as far as we know, we don't know if it's going to be in the actual game the same way it was in the beta. Like everybody having issues with the fact that you have to wait for crafting stations.
Oh yeah. That I hope they take that out. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, that seems like a pain in the ass. I would hate to do that.
Yeah.
I'd be like, dude, fucking move.
Because me and like you're always, and I'll stop ranting about this game, but you're always hungry and thirsty in this game. They basically gave it a mechanic of a survival game, kind of like the 7 Days to Die aspect to it, which first of all I hate. But because of that, halfway through, me and my buddy are running through the wasteland, and then at a certain point we're like, oh man, we're really hungry, we're really thirsty. We gotta cook food, or we gotta boil water. We have to purify this. Let's go to the cooking station. And there's always only one cooking station. So you're always like, oh god damn, like I gotta wait for you to get done, and then I gotta do it. And while I'm waiting, I'm just getting hungrier and thirstier. It's like, just let us cook in the same pot.
You're just sitting there dying, waiting
Just
to
dying
cook.
while
You're
he's
just
cooking
like,
his
fuck
steak.
my life. Yeah.
Just like, come on, buddy, I'm really thirsty over here. And he's like, I gotta cook my steak, man. Wait in line.
You're like, hurry the fuck up, dude. Jesus. Yeah, for me, all I've been playing is Red Dead, and yeah, it's a game. Like I said the last time we spoke about it last week, I think. There are a couple things that I don't enjoy about it. The menus are really annoying, and they're really inconsistent. Realism is kind of annoying because it's like certain things are super realistic and others aren't. Like I was telling you how I got mauled by a bear, and then after like maybe 10 minutes of riding, I no longer had like blood on me and my clothes were just perfectly patched back together. Mm-hmm. And the more I think about it is like, you take damage and I could just eat a steak and I'm 100% to full health, and it's like, oh yeah, it's realism. I totally understand why they did that, because it's a gameplay mechanic that's existed forever and it'd just be a huge pain in the ass otherwise.
Yeah,
but
I guess so. Anytime I get shot, though, I mean, if I eat a steak, I usually feel better. So, I mean, maybe it's just different people.
Yeah, naturally, it just heals your wounds. Arthur Morgan is just a freaking superhuman that runs on red meat, I guess. I really don't understand.
Red meat redemption.
Yeah, exactly. No, it kind of bothers me, especially because the way people are like defending it, which is odd. People are like, oh yeah, the loot mechanic is really annoying, but that's the way you would do it in real life. But I'm like, yeah, but in real life I don't die and then wake up with $12 less in my wallet. Like that.
I mean, you might.
Yeah, I guess. I haven't died yet, and I generally don't carry cash with me, but if that's the way it works, I guess I'm totally cool with it.
That's how it worked back in the old days, back in the old West.
Yeah, you just died and then you were revived by the Lazarus Pit, but they charged you $12 as like an entry fee.
That's a lot of money back then in those days.
That's a shitload of money. Yeah. But we have talked about what games we were playing enough, I guess. I don't really know. I should talk about it more, but whatever, dude.
Perfect
it is time.
segue.
Yeah, right? I'm so good at segues. For our first news story, this is over on IGN. It's not necessarily a news story. It's more of an announcement that Rage in Peace is coming to Steam and Switch. It got a trailer. It got its first trailer, something like that. It's actually coming really soon. You'll notice that especially by the end of this, because it's coming literally tomorrow. It's coming November 8th, 2018. Yeah, if you guys did the math on that, we record this like 2 days before I post it. It's because I have to edit it. But Rage in Peace looks really interesting. Its Steam page describes it in kind of an interesting way. Rage in Peace is a story-driven action-adventure with elements of surprise and memorization. Unravel the last days of Timmy's... Oh, no, it's not days, it's just day. Unravel the last day of Timmy's life.
Day.
Yeah, this would be the shittiest day ever. I guess that's kind of the point of the game. As he races against time to get back home and fulfill his sole dream of dying peacefully in his pajamas in the warmth of home, in peace, and with no drama. It actually seems like a really interesting concept for a game, and it's like $12.99. It not a lot at all, and it looks like a really, really interesting game. I'm a big fan of platformers just in general, so I feel like I'm probably gonna get suckered into picking this up. And it seems like it has a lot of emotion, which is something that I really enjoy. The fact that it's like story driven is awesome, because most platformers that I have had the experience of playing, they're not necessarily like hyper story driven. It's more about the gameplay, which in this, it seems to be almost entirely like story and a bunch of pain in the ass gameplay. So I'm really excited.
I have mixed feelings. I think this looks super cool. I love the concept. I think it's so funny that the whole premise is you're going to die, but you just want to do it comfy in a chair or in a couch. You know, sleeping. You want to be cozy in your pajamas. Yeah, I'll die then. But like the fact, like I'm just watching the trailer right now, and I'm like, oh my god. First off, they show you he dies so many times in this trailer. Like,
It has
don't
a
be.
death counter.
Oh, I didn't even
Because you
notice
die so
that.
much.
I
Yeah,
didn't
in the
even
top
notice
left corner.
that. Yeah. And I'm just like looking at it. It looks so sporadic. I feel like this would definitely just destroy me mentally. I would be so raged out by the end of this. It reminds me kind of like a Wings of V or one of those just extreme difficult games. That's like, oh, who can actually beat it? I would probably play this if there was an easier mode to it, but it looks like this is just get through it. Which I'll see how the story is later, and I'll see if there's good reviews on it, and if so, maybe I'll put the effort into it. But I don't know. I don't know if I could put myself through this.
Yeah, its difficulty looks a lot like something like Super Meat Boy, where it's like I'm gonna want to punch myself in the face by the end of this. Like it just seems like it's for masochists kind of a thing. Like it just doesn't make any sense why somebody would want to do it. And I like the fact that it seems a lot. It seems to be less about skill and more about memorization.
Yeah.
But can't say I'm really good at that either. So I guess we'll find out. I hope the game does well. It definitely, it has an interesting premise, and I like that it's story driven. But it seems like it'll be a huge pain in the ass.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, this is one of those games where I'll probably wait on it. I'll sit on it and see what others say about it first, and if it gets good reviews, then maybe I'll pick it up. But I don't know. My wife would kill me if I find another game that I'm constantly raging about.
She's like, dude, you won't shut up about crosscode. You just need to stop buying video games.
She literally, the other day I was playing and I was raging so hard. She's like, it's not healthy for you. You need to stop.
You're like, that's what games are all about.
Yeah.
It's not a healthy hobby. Yeah.
I was like, it's all about that satisfaction once you beat it. Then you get all the health back.
Yeah, it's like people who love the Souls-like series. I'm just like, dude, I just want to punch myself in the face. I hate it so much. Like I played Neo and I was like, oh yeah, this isn't too bad. Got to like the third boss, and then I was like, I hate this so much. Because just stupid shit would happen, and it's like, oh, the boss pattern changed for 2 seconds, and then just caught me off guard, and I died. And I'm like, fuck this game. It's fucking so stupid. I hate it. Was not exactly happy with it, but I hope this game does well. Yeah, I feel like this is definitely something I'll end up like picking up on a Steam sale like later on when it's on sale, or like how we talked about Loot Play, how they're giving out indie games kind of a thing. Their subscription service. Yeah, getting it randomly like that maybe, but it's probably not something I'm gonna seek out myself, at least not initially, unless I guess it is on Switch, so. You never know. You might be on a plane looking at some big mouth boobies, and you're like, man, dude, I really just want to like kill myself right now. So I'm gonna play some Rage in Peace.
Oh, I forgot I told you that story.
Yeah, you did. Yep.
That good old memory. All right.
So for our next story, we are over on Twinfinite. I really don't want to say her name wrong, so I'm just going to read the title because that is a really complex name. It'll be a while before we get to see the rest of Toby Fox's Deltarune. So on Halloween, Toby Fox, the creator of Undertale, he put out a game called Deltarune. It seems to be like kind of up in the air whether it's a sequel. He did like an interview with IGN where he said that it's not, you don't need to think of it as a sequel because it's not in the land of Undertale. It's like completely different, and you just don't need to worry about it. Which, on that note, I will say that the person who wrote the IGN article was kind of condescending, because after that they say like, yeah, Toby Fox doesn't know whether it's a sequel or not. I'm like, he knows. he just doesn't want to fucking tell you, or it's not a sequel and you just didn't understand that. Like, it's not like he was just being dumb about it. But Deltarune, I guess when you got to the end of it, it actually said that you only finished the end of chapter 1, which is pretty interesting. Apparently, it took him several years, it seems, to make just chapter 1 of Deltarune, and he is saying that it's going to take a while longer to finish the rest of it. He has the story all written out, but the game itself has not kind of taken hold. It hasn't become an entire game yet because he doesn't actually even have a team that is making it. He's assembling one seemingly now to finish the rest of it, but he is pretty much urging players that it could be years before they see the rest of Deltarune. That really sucks.
So, first off, I put the name in a text-to-speech program, and apparently her name is King Wan. Or at least that's what the internet says. Also, actually, on the note of the article, I saw this and I was interested just because I don't know how long chapter 1 really is or how much was put into it because I haven't had time to actually try Deltarune out. But it's crazy to me to think of how long these really take. Like, a lot of people don't consider that when a lot of this industry is very demanding about, like, oh, we want our games, we want this, we want that, and it's amazing how much time or investment really goes into the things that we consume. These couple of hour games are years to someone else, which is upsetting, but is the reality of things. That being said, I think it was said that he's looking for a dedicated team to help him out to get obviously that done faster. If you're working as a one-man band, you're going to be doing this forever, but maybe that'll make it go a little quicker. And at the same time, going back to what we were talking about with not knowing if this is a sequel or not, what does it really matter? Like, if it's a fun game, then I think, and I know that's where he's going with this, is he doesn't want to live in his shadows of that game. He wants a clean slate to start and say, this is a new game, judge it how you will. I want it to be in, a fresh pair of eyes.
Especially with, I definitely understand what you're saying, especially with Undertale being such kind of like a meteoric success. People really, really like Undertale. It has this like cult following, and releasing a sequel to it, I definitely see the allure to like wanting to follow it up, but it's honestly like, it seems like that would be a big undertaking where it's like, not only do I have to make a game that I hope lives up to that expectation, but I have just hundreds of thousands of people who are just sitting there waiting for me to make this game and see if it's better. And if it's not better, he's going to hear about it. So it's definitely a double-edged sword. Making it, I imagine, probably it really fulfills you, and it just feels amazing to create something that people really, really love. But on the off chance that it's not as good as Undertale, which I'm assuming it'll be really hard to follow up Undertale because people fucking love that game.
I know. Yeah,
but
it's tough to follow in those footsteps.
Yeah, and if he even misses the mark slightly, people are going to be pissed. So it's like, I'm glad he's taking his time to make Deltarune. Like, it seems like he has it all mapped out what he wants to do. Supposedly, it's only going to have one ending, is what I've read. But it seems like it's going to take a while for him to actually get the rest out, which I'm totally fine with. I hope it does really, really well. Sequels to games often do well, but you don't know if it's a sequel. So I also... Yeah, I also understand that he might not want, and I don't think the person who I deleted the article because I thought it was douchey that person said it. And I was like, I don't want to talk about this article, but I thought it was odd that he basically says like, oh, he doesn't know whether or not it's a sequel, but it's like, maybe he doesn't want to tell you it's a sequel because later on in the chapters, you find out it's a sequel in a specific way. Like, maybe it's really, like, a really interesting way you see characters that are, like, new kind of a thing. I don't know. it's kind of odd the way you do it, but it's like kind of like how the Cloverfield franchise of movies, like
Right.
if you watch them each, I guess there's only two at the moment, but if you watched each of them individually, it just wouldn't make sense. You're like, oh yeah, it doesn't make sense how they really go together or how this whole thing is going together. But then once you get to a certain part, you're like, oh shit, yeah, that totally
Yeah,
makes sense.
I mean it's all setting expectations and setting a stage for him to work off of. So if someone's working on this and they've created a giant story as depth driven as Undertale is, I'm sure it's not something where he would just start this off and be like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, there's a lot obviously that goes into a game where there's going to be pieces that change halfway through, but it's very I would find it very odd if he started the first chapter without knowing where the rest of the story was going and put this out to anyone, to basically say, what do you think of it? I'm sure that he has an underlying, here's what the main concept is. Key things will change to it, but I'm pretty sure he would know whether or not based on the story that he's building.
Yeah, that's basically the way I feel too. Supposedly he has it all written out, so I'm excited to see how it goes. If anybody has actually played Deltarune, good, yeah, that's amazing. For our next story, it's kind of a follow-up to the last. We are over on IGN, this one by Joe Screbbles, I'm assuming is what his name is. Deltarune's uninstaller can accidentally delete a lot more than the game. So, if you have played Deltarune, I would imagine you just keep it on your console, or not on your console, on your PC, because apparently it's an issue where people go through the uninstaller to delete Deltarune off their I keep trying to say system, I don't know why. They keep trying to delete it off their PC, and apparently it deletes the entire directory the uninstaller is in. So it seems like you may be able to put it in a different, like in its own isolated folder, and that might work to keep it from deleting anything off of your PC. But otherwise, Toby Fox has basically just advised people to not uninstall it, to not use. He's like, I recommend you don't use the uninstaller, is what he does. I think that's hilarious. He's just like, I just recommend you just keep it. That'd probably be the best idea.
What a great way to say, no, just don't get rid of my game. Just have it forever. You need it.
I know. Immediately, I went to like nefarious thoughts where I was like, I wonder if he's like tracking the number of downloads, and he just wants to keep it up high. He's like artificially inflating his downloads, but then it's like, really? No, this dude, like, just shit happens. I definitely enjoyed the added tidbit that he's like, yeah, it was just a coincidence. It was like something funny where when you went to go install Deltarune, you actually had to sign the license agreement that apparently simply reads, you accept everything that will happen from now on. He's like, it's an unfortunate coincidence.
Yeah, well, I mean, they signed off on it. Now he's just keeping
all right?
our files hostage.
You can't even be mad because it was like, oh yeah, it's a joke, but it's kind of like a cosmic joke. It's a hilarious joke now because it's like, now you're fucked. I definitely enjoy. I actually hadn't known this about Deltarune just entirely, but apparently when he initially released Deltarune on Halloween, he actually reached out and asked people not to release anything about its story until 24 hours after the release, and a lot of people actually went for it. They were just like, sure, I won't say anything.
Yeah, there was. I remember seeing that because there were some articles that like kind of tiptoed around it that were like, we'll have to see what happens, like, but it's out there kind of a thing, which, I thought was nice because at least it's respectful of giving him some coverage on it without giving away anything from it. But it's an interesting way that he's doing this whole reveal. I wonder how he'll do it depending on, is this something where he'll consider doing more of an episodic kind of release cycle based on how long this does take him? Is this going to be a full-fledged game, where, I mean, obviously this is too early to really tell anything, but it would be interesting if he did something like that. I just don't know how, things such as your progress would carry over and what that would look like.
Yeah, especially because, I mean, if he does it in an episodic fashion, it might like sate people's curiosity, if you know what I mean. Like, it's better that it might be better that he releases it episode by episode or chapter by chapter, instead of just waiting until he has it all done, because then people will just like, at this very moment, he is giving people a taste, and you know that people are going to be pissed if they don't get another taste soon, kind of a thing.
Exactly.
Like, even if they wait like 2 years, I would say 2 years is long enough, and then people would just start to get like frothing at the mouth. They'd be like, "Where's the Last Guardian?" kind of a thing. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
people really don't like to wait that long for games.
Exactly. And I mean, it just because eventually it's just people are gonna drop out. They're gonna be like, whatever. Or they'll move on to the next thing, or there's a lot of reasoning behind when games should be revealed and when things should be notified. So I don't doubt that he has a plan in mind, but we'll just have to see where it goes.
Or he's just a crazy person and just
I mean, that is
doing some weird shit.
That's a very good possibility. We don't know.
Yeah, you never know. For our next story, we are over on Twinfinite. This written by Darby Hallman. Hope I said that correctly. It seems like an interesting name. Stylish fighter Nidhogg 2 is coming to the Switch later this month. It seems like Nidhogg 2 is coming to the Switch specifically on November 22nd. I'm super excited about this. I haven't played Nidhogg 2 yet, but I've played a little bit of the first, and I love that it's just basically a game about dueling. I do like the art aesthetic of the first game more than 2, because in 2 it's kind of like that weird, like, grotesque meatball, like, art style.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, that just looks so uncomfortable to me, whereas the first one was just kind of like this slick, like, pixel art style, which I really liked. It was really minimalist, but the second game, yeah, they really went for, like, this weird art style. But I would say that they accomplish it. But yeah, I'm excited to play Nidhogg 2 on my freaking Switch. That's dope. Plus, the Switch immediately comes with an additional controller, just naturally. I don't have to pay $60 to get another one.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it, but it does make sense since this is just, I mean, it seems like a 2-player game. I've never actually played the Nidhogg series. I've heard good things about it, and I remember I had a couple of friends who were really big into it, but I just never seemed to go with it. But geez, I'm looking at images of the different art style from 1 to 2, and this is just like a totally different game. Like, it looks insane.
It's a massive departure. It's like, oh yeah, you've got these nice little, like, it might take 6 pixels to create somebody, and then in the second game it's like they're a meatball.
Yeah, it's weird.
It looks completely different.
They went from like Microsoft Paint to like, oh god, I don't even know how to describe it. The second one just looks like, yeah, it just looks like a meatball. Specifically this worm thing. It looks like a giant meatball with eyes and a giant horn.
It looks gross. Everything in Nidhogg 2 looks gross.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this.
I'm excited for it to come to the Switch. I believe it's coming at $29.99. I think. I'm pretty sure it's $29.99. Yeah, coming to the Switch November 22nd. I'm super excited about it. I haven't played the second one pretty much at all. I don't know why. I just haven't really worried about it. I feel like the art style really has like thrown me off just in general. But for our next story, we are actually talking about another. I don't know where I was going with that. Yeah, for our next story, we're staying on Twinfinite. Oh, another Darby Hallman. That's where I was going. Another Darby Hallman article. This one still on Twinfinite. It is Grim Fandango Remastered gets surprise. Okay, that's a Grim Fandango Remastered gets surprise Switch release. Okay, that makes so much more sense after I like looked at it. But while reading it, I was like, what the fuck is this guy saying? Seems like he's missing a word. In a surprise announcement video, Double Fine revealed that Grim Fandango Remaster is available today, which was November 1st. that today Grim Fandango will be available on the Nintendo eShop for $14.99. And they also announced that a special physical edition of the game for PS4 and a vinyl soundtrack in celebration of the 20th anniversary. It's coming to PS4. Double Fine has partnered with I Am 8-Bit and Lucasfilms to get a $29.99 dollar release. I'm super stoked about this. I'm gonna be honest, I've never played Grim Fandango, but by now, if you haven't noticed, I'm a big fan of physical media, so the fact that they're like, I can pick up this physical release for $29.99 is pretty dope. But it's even worse that I already have the game on my PS4. I could just play it now, but I'll wait until I can buy it physically.
Oh, your silliness hurts me.
Yeah, I really like to waste money.
I
don't know
can
why.
tell. Every time I see these articles or I see something in the news about like physical release, I always think about you and I'm like, oh, why do they keep doing this to him? They're just taking money out of his bank account.
You just start like messaging I Am 8-Bit in limited run games. You're like, hey, can you shut down? This guy's spending too much money on your fucking video games.
You gotta stop, man. You're hurting people. Enough is enough.
It's an addiction at this point. Have you ever played Grim Fandango?
I have not, but it's kind of surprising because I do really like the stuff that comes out of Double Fine Studios, so I feel like it's something I should have picked up, but I just never did. Maybe I will with this though for the Switch, just because it seems like it would be good for just to kind of sit on the couch and play while doing something else. This seems like one of their more earlier Double Fine Studio ones, kind of like the point and click adventures, going through and solving puzzles, which is fun. I don't know if I could do it for hours on end, but it would probably make it easy just having it on the Switch to pick it up, play for an hour or so, and then keep going on and off.
Yeah, it's another game that has like a cult following. People really love Grim Fandango. So I'm not surprised at all that not only did it get a remaster, it's also coming to Switch and is getting a physical release. So I can't wait to see if I can find it. Because it's super hard to find physical copies of games that don't normally come physically. For our next story, we are staying on Twinfinite. This by Andrew McMahon. Okay, yeah, that's a name. Studio Pixelpunk reveals colorful new trailer for Zelda-inspired adventure game Unsighted. It doesn't look like Unsighted actually has a release date or really, not really a lot of information on it in general, but damn, does this trailer look dope. I think it looks awesome. I love the sweet pixel art that it has. I think that looks amazing. It reminds me a lot of Hyper Light Drifter, which is one of my favorite games. I'm super excited to see how it all turns out, but there's a severe lack of information on the game, which is a little odd. You're fighting like cyborg samurais and shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
It looks really freaking cool. When I saw this, I was like, man, how have I not heard this earlier? And it looks like I was going through like the the Twitter account that they have and through previous like videos that they posted, and it feels like they don't have that big of a following, which is honestly very surprising because I feel like this should be bigger than it is. One of the things that looks interesting is it's not just another one of those kind of old Zelda-esque type games where you're going through. There's also different aspects to, apparently story and choice will also play a large role in Unsighted, as NPCs only have a limited lifetime in game. So like this brands out to what could be numerous playthroughs of the same game turning into a totally different atmosphere. I don't know how much it'll play into that, but if that's the case, this is definitely something I would be interested in. I love those type of games where every choice that you make matters, and especially if they're putting this into a Zelda-esque type, dungeon fighting type system, then bring it on. This sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like looking at it, I didn't realize. So in the article, the author says that it kind of like it just flies under the indie radar, which I mean it's really easy to do. It's really easy to not notice indie games, which is kind of the whole reason that we started this podcast. But yeah, while clicking on their Twitter link, it's like holy shit, they only have 2,000 followers. They have 2,155 because I just followed them. But this game looks amazing, and it blows my mind that they don't have more followers, especially just like on Twitter and such. I'm surprised they don't have. There are games that get like Steam pages just freakishly far in advance. Like they have a Steam page, but they have like a 20 some odd release date. Like I saw just the other day, it was like a release date that they were like, it was actually kind of odd because in their release date section, it said a date in 2018. And then in like down below, it was like, this will release in 2020. And I was like, what the fuck? Why wouldn't you just update your release date? But yeah, Unsighted looks amazing. I love its pixel art. The combat looks really interesting. And I hope that people kind of notice it a little bit more, I guess.
Yeah, if you're listening to this, click that follow button.
Yeah, seriously, go check out Studio Pixelpunk on Twitter and just click follow. There are a lot of actually like indie developers that I follow on Twitter, which kind of just blows up my Twitter feed because, like, of course, I'm unknown just altogether. I have 85 followers, but I follow like 500 fucking people. 90% of them indie devs that I'm just like, I want to look at your game.
Yeah.
As you make it. There are like a couple things that I'm 100% certain that they're just like fucking around in dev tools, like in Unity, with dev tools in Unity. And I follow them because I just like the way it looks. I'm just like, this is interesting. Or, you know, you just always follow those accounts that are just pictures of pigs and shit. That's always good stuff. I like pictures of pigs and raccoons. Raccoons are kind of my jam too. I really don't know why. So that's it for the news. Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of news this week. It's kind of crazy. So it's time for us to move on to one of our time-honored traditions. We actually changed the name of it specifically because there's a lot of crowdfunding sites, apparently, which I did not know. I don't know how I didn't know that, but yeah, there's a lot of crowdfunding sites. So it's time for God Bless the Crowd, which is what we changed it to. So yeah, it's no longer God Bless This Kickstarter, it's God Bless the Crowd. We've got 3 different games in our section here. We've got The Legend of Toby Maru, which I don't know why I read everything because I'm just not great at reading. But you know what?
That's okay.
I chose to be the person who reads things.
One day you'll get it.
Right, one day I'll be able to read like at a 3rd grade reading level instead of a 2nd grade reading level. It's what I'm shooting for. But the other 2 games we have are Outworld Battlegrounds, which looks awesome, and Soundfall, which you and John seriously have like pitched a tent for. You guys really like this game. And I will admit, it looks amazing. I love how much it reminds me of Crypt of the Necrodancer. But you guys have seriously just like gone on a crusade about Soundfall, which is awesome.
I said it in my Twitter. This game is going to be a banger. I know it. I can see it. I can't wait for it. As probably no one knows other than my close friends, was really, really big into the DDR and ITG phase. And if you don't know what ITG is, that's okay. It's called In the Groove. It's pretty much DDR, but better. I used to play that all the time. I was really good at it. I love anything that's music game based. It really, to me, just looks like basically Beat Hazard, but as a dungeon crawler. And that sounds amazing.
Yeah, I think Soundfall looks really amazing. I'm really bad at like beat games, so I think I'm gonna be anus at it, but it just looks so awesome. The 2 other games we have here, the Legend of Toby Maru, I think it looks really cool, but I'm gonna tell you right now, it's definitely not gonna get backed.
Yeah.
As 31 backers, $589, and their goal that they were wanting to hit was just shy. It was like just shy of $7,000, and it's got 8 days to go. I sadly don't see it getting backed, even though it looks like a really cool game.
Unless someone wants to, be that one $3,000 backer that's here. Oh, actually,
Dude, right?
actually, this is in New Zealand dollars, so it only comes out to about 2,000 US dollars. So hey, that's even cheaper. Come on, guys.
Dude, yeah, it's a steal. Just go freaking back them. And Outworld Battlegrounds looks really, really awesome. It's a top-down, like, 2D Battle Royale style shooter. I think that looks really awesome. The only thing, once again, people need to learn how to craft a good trailer. I don't understand how they're hoping to get these massive amounts of money out of people with these fucking weird ass trailers. Like at some points the music gets like freakishly loud in the trailer, or they used footage from the I'm assuming from a demo, so it's like people talking but they're like whispering. And I'm like, I feel like you wanted me to hear that, but it's impossible because they're fucking whispering.
Yeah, they definitely need. I wish Kickstarter would do like multiple demos of like, here's just a gameplay demo and here's us talking demo, because half the time, like I get why they do the person talking, is because you want to get like that information into it and really understand like who you're backing and stuff like that. But sometimes you just want to see the game and you just want to be like, is this a game I'm really gonna invest time into?
Yeah, for Outworld Battlegrounds specifically, they have a lot of like different tiers, but they're for a game that's hoping for 21K. They actually, they have.
No, go
What
ahead.
were you
Go
gonna
ahead.
say? Oh, they have like really low amounts. Everybody else is hoping for like some of their biggest things are like several $1,000s, and then for Outworld Battlegrounds, their highest one is like $590 or more. But still, that's pretty low. And they have.
I was so blown away by this. This is one of the things I wanted to talk about, and I totally forgot. When I first saw this, I was looking through the lowest one, which is the early backer deal, which apparently there's still like 18 spots left. You can buy this game for $4 in Canadian currency, which is $3 US, which is insane. How, like, I don't understand how they thought they were going to hit their mark with such low pledges. Like, I'm honestly baffled, because it's so strange to see one of these Kickstarters where you're not paying anywhere from $10 to $20 for the digital copy of the game.
Yeah, normally, like in Soundfall, you pay $20 and that's the basically the first thing that you could do, and you get the digital copy of Soundfall when it comes out. For The Legend of Toby Maru, you pay $15 and you get the digital copy, but Outworld Battlegrounds, you pay $4 and you get a bunch of like interesting stuff. You get like wallpaper, you get your name in the credits, you get the full game release, which is apparently supposed to be by what the fuck? You get a Steam key for the full game by the 7th of December 2018. They're really shooting for that one.
Wait,
that's
what?
a little odd.
Damn.
Yeah, that's what it says. Like it includes a Steam key for the full release, and in parentheses by 7 December 2018. That's a little odd. Like, the game comes out literally in 1 month supposedly, and you're asking for $4? $4 fucking dollars? They have 21 days to go, but it seems like their Kickstarter, I don't know. It seems like their Kickstarter might be to just like kind of get the money back that they've already put into it. They've got 21 days to go, a little bit under $20,000 to their goal, but I hope they reach it, because this looks really cool, and battle royales are super in right now, and I feel like this would do I feel like this would do really well, because it's a different take on it. It's a top-down shooter, which is just so odd to like put with a battle royale. But the fact that the highest one that they have is $590 or more, so you could pay more if you really wanted to. I feel like it's really awesome that they did that, because I don't know. It feels like the higher tier rewards for these kind of games are always kind of like, it's always out of reach. I never think I'll be able to get it. But it's like, I don't know. It's just, it's mind-boggling. It's like being a little bit too generous, like being so generous that you're being naive, kind of a thing.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I'm always so impressed. Like, not really impressed, but just like baffled by the amount of money that people will invest in things that don't exist. Like, it's crazy. And granted, you get some really cool stuff. Like with Soundfall, you get to create your own Easter egg inside the game. You get to design a weapon inside the game. You get, t-shirt, plushies, a lot of like actual physical things that you get. But like the highest version to get all that is $1,000 plus 500, so $1,500. Like, it's a lot of money. there's no way someone like a common person like me could just be like, yeah, I really like this game, I'm even saying, I'm like, this game's gonna be a banger, I believe in it, but I cannot give that much money for an investment.
The second I saw you tweet and say that this game was going to be a banger, I wanted to make fun of you so hard.
I love it. Because it's so, it's going to be good, man.
Just specifically because you called it a banger. Yeah, Soundfall, it's got 21 days left and 21 hours, and it's already 132% of their goal.
Yeah.
Holy shit. This made its money in like less than an hour, or like less than, I guess it's 30 days. So basically less than a day. They made the money they need, and they still have an entire month of just shit. They're just like, yeah, go for it. Just fucking give us more money. It'd be cool. Damn.
Do
they
they
got
have
these
any...
sweet physical rewards at only $100. I might have to pitch in $100 here, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
I get a poster.
A poster.
I get a poster,
You do get it,
Josh.
and it is signed. You get a signed poster.
Oh, I didn't even see that, dude. I gotta fucking get that poster.
You're fucking crazy. No, that's okay. I mean, I do like the design of the t-shirt, but no, I'm not gonna pay like, what is it, $180 or some shit, $350. Yeah, I think I'll pass.
Yeah, it's a shitload of money. Over with the Outworld, you actually get a t-shirt that looks really dope, but you have to pay $130 for it, because that just blows my mind. But it's a really cool looking t-shirt, so fund these games. Yeah, give them your money.
I mean, or just pay $4 and get their game.
Right. Just pay $4 and apparently get their game that comes out next month.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they're gonna make it, unfortunately. I mean, maybe, who knows? They've still got some time. They've still got 21 days to go, so maybe if it, like, people start seeing it and it rolls through, but I don't know. If not, it sounds like they're still, gonna come out with it, because if they're planning on releasing in a month, like, it sounds like they're ready to do it, but I don't know. I guess we'll see. I wonder how much it would actually be now, though. Like,
yeah, right. You're getting this sweet steal. You're like, just pay $4 for it, and in a month you get it. And like in a month they release it for $20 or something like that. You're just like,
exactly.
Interesting choice. So that's about it for God Bless the Crowd. It's time to move on to our indie release schedule for this week. So this is for November 4th through November 10th. Basically with this, every week we come to you and tell you every indie game, or not really every, because it's hard to find every indie game, but the majority of the indie games that are coming out this week on different consoles. I have them separated by console, between multiple consoles, PlayStation 4 and Vita, Xbox, Switch, Windows PC, and mobile. This week we don't have any mobile titles, so you guys don't really need to worry about that. But yeah, if you guys have a specific system, of course, I'll try to put it down in the timestamps below. They should be up by the time this video goes up as well, but sometimes I don't get to the timestamps until like a couple hours after, so it just happens. But yeah, there's a shitload of indie games coming out this week, so just buckle up, Josh, because it's gonna get real hairy up in here, I guess.
Click.
Oh, he buckled up, guys. All right, so for multiple, we've got Skytime coming to PlayStation 4 and Switch on Monday, November 5th. Brawlhalla coming to Xbox One and Switch Tuesday, November 6th. Grip coming to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Windows PC, and Switch for Tuesday, November 6th. The Shape-Shifting Detective coming to PS4, Xbox One, Switch Tuesday, November 6th. Mechanica coming to Xbox One and Switch on Thursday, November 8th. Tiber Tennis Versus, which is an interesting name, coming to PlayStation 4 and Switch Thursday, November 8th. And Rage in Peace, like I said, it would come back in the end section. It comes out to Windows PC and Switch Thursday, November 8th. Now moving on to the PS4 and Vita list, we've got Omen of Sorrow coming to PS4. Sorrow, not sorrow. Sorrow. Because I can't read today for some reason. Omen of Sorrow coming to PS4 Tuesday, November 6th. Road Redemption coming to PS4 Tuesday, November 6th. Star Bear Taxi coming to PSVR Tuesday, November 6th. Siren coming to PSVR Tuesday, November 6th. The Forest coming to PS4 Tuesday, November 6th. Steel Rats coming to PlayStation 4 Wednesday, November 7th. And we only actually have 2 titles for Xbox One, but one of them is good. It's a good title. You guys should pick it up. Definitely don't buy Dead Cells. You know what I'm talking about? Get this one. So for Xbox One, we've got
Dead Cells.
Shut up. For Xbox One, we've got Agents and Villains on Xbox One Wednesday, November 7th. And here's the jam right here. Chasm coming to Xbox One Friday, November 9th. That's right. By the time this posts, you could be listening to this. You're like, oh man, I really want to play a game. Fucking buy Chasm. Buy Chasm. It's on the Xbox One. It's on the PS4. It's on the Nintendo Switch. Fucking buy it. Or buy Dead Cells. That's a thing too. You could get both if you really wanted to. For a Nintendo Switch, we've got Moonlighter coming to the Switch Monday, November 5th. Full Metal Furies coming to Switch Tuesday, November 6th. Rogue Legacy coming to Switch Tuesday, November 6th. Crypto Game, maybe Nintendo Switch Edition. Yeah, Crypto Game, Nintendo Switch Edition coming to the Nintendo Switch, obviously, Wednesday, November 7th. Daru, The Art of Cooperation, which, yeah, not even gonna say it. Okay, yeah, it's like everyone makes the jokes that people are running out of names and they're just putting shit into random name generator. It's definitely true. It's 100% true. Daru, The Art of Cooperation comes to Switch Wednesday, November 7th. Astal Breed coming to Switch Thursday, November 8th. Battlezone Gold Edition coming to Switch Thursday, November 8th. Crashlands coming to Switch Thursday, November 8th. Rage in Peace. Yeah, apparently I didn't realize that I put it on here twice. Coming to the Nintendo Switch Thursday, November 8th. Skyforce Anniversary coming to Nintendo Switch Thursday, November 8th. Siberia 1 and 2 coming to the Switch Thursday, November 8th. The Bug Butcher, which actually looks really awesome. I might pick it up on Switch. Coming to the Nintendo Switch Thursday, November 8th. The Walking Vegetables Radical Edition coming to Switch Thursday, November 8th. Variant coming to Switch Thursday, November 8th. Yeah, that's... How do you say that one? What'd you think?
Coladalat?
Yeah, Coladalat.
Coladalat.
It's something. It's coming to Switch Friday, November 9th. Forgotten Anne coming to Switch Friday, November 9th. And Saboteur, because it's got an exclamation point, coming to Switch Friday, November 9th. Oh my god, there's always so many indie games coming out every week. I really hope people are listening to this and they actually buy some of them and play them.
Maybe we should start switching off and I say some or something like that, because I feel like by the end of this you're always trained.
I was just like, oh my god, it's so much fucking, it's so many words. All right, time to get to Windows PC. We've got, and I really hope this is just, it adequately describes the game is what I hope. It's Cheap Golf coming to Windows PC Monday, November 5th. Nowhere Patro, something like that. Coming to Windows PC Monday, November 5th. Swords and Soldiers 2 Shar Armageddon. Shaw Armageddon, something like that, coming to Windows PC Tuesday, November 6th. We praise our glorious leader, the Flumph. I hate my life. Why did...
I looked that game up. It looks so strange.
Yeah, they like praise like a Furby or some shit.
It's so strange looking.
It looks so weird. I'm glad people are making weird games, but it's just, yeah. That comes to Windows PC Tuesday, November 6th. Squally coming to Windows PC Tuesday, November 6th. Stone Towers coming to PC Wednesday, November 7th.
That's a hard one.
Okay, it's Tsioque.
Wait, hold up.
Are you gonna put it in like a translator to see how to say it phonetically?
It says Tsock.
What the fuck? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, Tsock coming to Windows PC Wednesday, November 7th. Fluffy Horde coming to PC Wednesday, November 7th. Holy Potatoes, a spy a spy story coming to Windows PC Wednesday, November 7th. Tin Hearts, which we've talked about before, coming to PC Thursday, November 8th. Despotism 3K, maybe.
Despacito.
It looks a lot like Despacito. Maybe I'm just dyslexic, but that looks like either Despacito or Despotism, apparently.
Despotism.
3K. Coming to PC Thursday, November 8th. And the last game coming out this week, it's not the last game coming out this week, but it's the last one on this list, is Hellsign coming to Windows PC Friday, November 9th.
That's it. No more games this week.
Yeah, that's all you get is freaking Hellsign. That's it. Play fucking Tin Hearts or Apple Street or fucking Rage in Peace, whatever. It doesn't matter. Don't just fucking buy an indie game and play it. So what we like to do after we read this massive list of indie games that come out each week is choose one that we think looks awesome and we might want to pick out and we might want to pick up. I can't exactly say that I've gotten any of them yet, which is interesting, but it's kind of a nice little call out. So did you pick one yet that you think looks just so good you have to have and you don't already have?
I did. I mean,
Ooh.
kind of. So there's two on my list here that I definitely would be interested in picking up. So the first one is going to be Moonlighter for the Switch.
Of course.
Because it just looks awesome, and we've talked about it before, but because of that, I didn't want to just pick that one alone, since we have mentioned that quite a few times. But the main one that I think from this week that I've seen this way back when it was first on PC, and I've always wanted to pick it up, but just never really did. So I might consider it now. Is the Bug Butcher.
The Bug.
The Bug Butcher. Excuse me, I'm the dyslexic one. The Bug Butcher. So it actually looks really cool. It reminds me a lot of, God, I don't know why the name is escaping me right now, but the old Newgrounds Flash game where it was a little alien that was running around.
Oh yeah, I know
stuff.
exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, you had to like dodge shit by just crouching and then shooting.
Yeah, it was the game that came out before that they were like, oh, Castles Crashers, what a crazy game. And they did like a lot of marketing for that game as well from beforehand, but it was specifically to Newgrounds. God, I have to look this up now. It reminds me a lot of that, but it's more of you're in a specific location and you're just dodging things that are coming out at you and you're shooting. Your main thing is like to the left, right, and upwards, as well as on an axis of shooting to the sides. And it just looks like a lot of fun. The one thing that I've seen on the Steam reviews is someone was upset that apparently the campaign, they don't allow you to play multiplayer, but there is like a multiplayer mode in it, which is a little upsetting because one of the things that I was like, oh man, this would be really cool if you could go through that campaign. But maybe that's changed. I don't know. I haven't dug as deep as I could have, but it does look like a lot of fun to just pick up, and I'm not sure how much it's going to be on the Switch, but for PC I think it's only like $8, which really isn't that bad.
Yeah, I think I see the comment you're talking about, and that was like apparently 2 hours ago. So,
okay, well then
yeah.
It's probably not changed since.
Yeah, they probably didn't change it within the past 2 hours that you could play the game, the campaign in co-op.
God.
But yeah,
Newgrounds
the Bug
looks
Butcher.
so different.
Now you're popping over to Newgrounds to
Yeah,
see
I'm
what it
just
looks
trying
like.
to find out what that Alien game was. Their website looks crazy different. Sorry to interrupt you. It's blowing my mind right now.
Yeah, I was actually gonna pretty much say the Bug Butcher as well. I thought it looked really interesting. Other than that, there's like the walking vegetables, which looks super weird and fun. But if there's any game that I was probably gonna pick up in reality, it's
Are you gonna
fucking
say Chasm? You
bitch.
motherfucker.
It's fucking Chasm. I'm gonna buy it on the Xbox One as well and still not play it. I'm gonna play fucking Dead Cells instead.
I mean, at least you're giving them some support.
Yeah, right? I love BitKid. They made a fucking sweet game. I'm just really bad at it.
It is Alien Hominid. That is the name of the game.
Alien Hominid. Okay. Yeah, I love the art style of apparently Alien Hominid is what it's called.
So good.
So how do you think this podcast went today? Did you enjoy it? Did you think, man, it's just the best game I've ever... the best game?
The best game?
indie
This is the
games
best game
podcast
I've ever
ever?
played.
It's so
Podcasting
good.
with Vaughn. 2018.
It's a pretty fucking good game, dude.
I know.
It brings the most joy I've ever seen anybody have in their lifetime, so suck it.
So
suck it,
suck it.
Alex. Way to not
Yeah,
be on the
take
podcast.
that. That's what you get. The Not Trio prevails again.
Now I'm just stuck at looking at pictures of Alien Hominid because I love its art style. And these fucking people dressing up like it, like costumes, they're fucking cosplaying as it. God damn it, that's a sweet game. I'm gonna have to fucking try to play some. Yeah,
That's what
Battle
they should
Block
do,
Theater. They
Yeah,
also
they should
created Castle
They should make
Crashers.
like a big collection of those games, like from the past, like Alien Hominid, Castle Crashers, Battle Block Theater, and just shove them all into like a Switch game. Just do like
That would
the
be really
the
sweet.
Newgrounds collection or Behemoth collection. That's what they call themselves.
That's what they call themselves.
Yeah, not the Newgrounds dudes.
The guys over on Newgrounds are like, yeah, we're just basically like stealing other people's games and publishing them.
I mean, to a degree, yeah, that's kind of what it was. But man.
It's kind of like the man who wrote I want to say George R. Martin, but no, he's the one who wrote the Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah, that's Game of Thrones.
Yeah, not the one I'm thinking of. It escapes me what the offer of fucking Lord of the Rings is. I don't know why.
That's Tolkien.
Yeah, Tolkien. So apparently he published the books, but didn't like copyright them. Apparently he did so in the UK, and then so there was an American publishing company who just started publishing the books, and didn't give anything to him. They just started publishing the books like assholes, and he was like, "Fucking stop."
Licensing is a bitch.
Yeah, right? It'll fucking kill you. I think this podcast went well. I think it's a good podcast. I like this podcast.
I'd give it like a 7.5 out of 10.
Ah, that's okay. That's what I'd give Breath of the Wild. So.
Oh my god, really?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I was like, no, so many people, all the hate mail.
It cuts so deep to people if you say you'd give Breath of the Wild anything below a 10 that it's just like, I'm just gonna say 7.5.
Going real deep.
Well, we post this indie game podcast each and every Friday. If you guys would like us to read your games, or you have some news you want us to know about, make sure you tweet at Hyde Legion, which is me, or what's your Twitter handle, Josh? Because I forgot it. In a second, I was gonna say it.
That's okay. It's _Jorsh. So that's Josh with an R in the middle, and then 90. 90.
See, it's the 90 that I always forget. I keep thinking 69 for some reason.
I would not put that as my answer. The George 69.
It's better than 420 in my opinion.
I mean, I guess so, but
Yeah, I don't know. It's whatever. Yeah, if you guys would like your indie games featured on the Indie Incursion podcast, make sure to you can DM me or just tweet at us or whatever, and make sure to follow the happenings of Parallax Media. There are several awesome articles coming out that I think people are really gonna like. We do a lot of like indie games articles and seemingly a shitload of JRPG stuff because a lot of us really like JRPGs, I guess. And a lot of people who really like him.
Egg roll going crazy.
Yeah, that was an interesting moment in history. Basically, like the leader, the founder of our website, we were having a manager meeting or editor meeting the other day, and his wife called Errol Egg Roll, and it was so weird. I was like, "How are you thinking his name is Egg Roll? It's Errol."
Something tells me it's gonna stick though.
I mean, John called him E-Roll for like months, so shit happens.
Oh, well.
So that's about the end of this episode. Thank you guys so much for listening to episode 5 of the Indie Incursion podcast. Hopefully by the time I post this, I will have found some sort of podcast feed to post it on. So yeah, good luck to me. Thank you guys so much for watching or listening, and I hope you guys have a great day.
Take it easy.